Hello, how are you? Thanks for choosing this video. There's lots more to come on the channel, so please stick around. Okay, so I am at SUCON. We're going to be doing some interviews today and having lots of conversations. So let's start this one off. How are you guys doing?
Good, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good.
I'm fantastic.
Excellent. So yeah, welcome to the Cloud Therapist channel. First of all, let's kind of do a quick intro maybe to you guys first, and then we can go from there.
So my name's Cosgrove. I'm a Kubernetes maintainer. Specifically, I own the release team sub-project, and I'm a SIG-Docs tech lead.
My name is Jeremy Rickard. I'm also a Kubernetes maintainer. I'm a chair for SIG release, and I also serve on the Kubernetes and CNCF Code of Conduct committees.
Fantastic. So you guys did a talk today. What was your talk about today?
We're talking about how maintainers fighting with each other and just like generally being kind of crappy in public is destructive for projects, and the various ways we can address that behavior.
Yeah, I think the real focus was from the maintainer's perspective, or the behavior of the maintainers. How does that specifically impact things? We see a lot of talk about how maintainers have to absorb the burden and criticism and attacks from users, but it doesn't excuse you from having decency and applying good behavior and kindness down the stack as well.
I'm detecting a little bit of friction here. What's going on?
I mean, so we take a lot of heat from users, and then because we're taking all that heat from users, we then take it out on each other. I think that's part of it, but also maintainers are we're chronically burned out. We're all overworked and understaffed, and we're doing it for free, probably. And that makes it more likely that you're going to snap. You're going to lash out, and some of them are governmental or institutional problems within an open source project, and that's a little bit harder to dismantle, but some of it really is just down to people are overworked and they lash out.
Right, fair enough.
I think conflict is unavoidable whenever there are more than two people involved, or more than one person involved. And I think the contributing factors that Kat mentioned really kind of exacerbate that. And that's when we get the breakdowns that maybe negatively impact the health of a project long term.
Okay, fair enough. So, so what's the difference? What was it you mentioned? Is it developers and maintainers? Is that the two camps that you were talking about?
Contributors and maintainers. So there's different types of people in an open source project, right? There's users who are just consuming your open source project. Contributors who may be writing some code, writing some docs, opening the occasional PR, but they're not in a governance position. They're not responsible for controlling the direction of the project, and then maintainers are in governance positions, and they are responsible for the overall long-term health and direction of a project.
Okay, so 2024 was the year of Kubernetes sort of reaching 10 years old, I believe. Just looking back on that before we kind of look forward, what's kind of been maybe some of the highlights, or and what's your kind of overall assessment really of the project in general?
I think there's still a dramatic amount of change happening and new features coming in, but there's this really big tension between how do we make things stable, how do we make them easy to consume, how do you address upgrades while still delivering all these features. I think there's an interesting dynamic there where people really want long-term support for things. Another thing that I do is work on the LTS working group, and it's really difficult to deliver something like that while still delivering great new capabilities. And there's so much happening now in the AI space where there are changes coming to Kubernetes to better support those kind of workloads, and slowing velocity down and slowing releases down is something that maybe makes that a little harder to deliver. So you get that constant tension. I think that's probably the big takeaway for me, is that you've got that real hard imbalance between wanting to deliver a bunch of new stuff and all the time, and then keeping it maintainable and keeping it consumable is really a challenge. It's pretty stable now, though. I think if you look back over the 10 years of that project, so much has gotten better in terms of breaking API changes being removed, or just overall stability of the project.
I mean, I remember when things like storage and networking were in tree, and that was kind of some of the early wild stuff that was going on there. So you may not like me for this, but I've done a little documentary of myself for just around Kubernetes, and I've titled it "What Did Kubernetes Ever Do for Us?" So I think it kind of highlights some of those issues that we've probably seen in the last sort of 10 years. Kind of, has it developed enough? Are we doing enough? I fully understand that it's kind of production ready and people kind of use it in those environments, and a lot of people are using it very aggressively in those spaces. But I'd like to see a little bit more kind of in terms of features, easier to install, easier to maintain and patch and things like that. So that takes us nicely to the future and sort of what can we expect sort of, and what are you guys actually hoping will actually happen?
So working on things like stability is one of our priorities in general. That has been for a while, but like with respect to like wanting to see more features, more stability, easier installers, this is an open source project, baby. PRs are welcome. Like you want it, you come build it. Come build it. Like we can only move as fast as we have the people to go, right? And it's still only going to be 3 releases a year, and managing like the number of features we have in a release now is super hard work, and that number just like goes up and up and up. We'll hit enhancements freeze this week for this cycle, and we're probably going to be at like over 90 enhancements at enhancement freeze. We'll lose close to half of them at code freeze, but we're all working on a lot and rapidly, and we don't have enough people to manage all of that. So the future of Kubernetes relies on people coming to help. We're the second largest open source project in the world, and it is still not enough because we're all doing it for free in our spare time. So the future is bright, but we need the help.
Yeah, I think feature-wise, something that is interesting to me is DRA. I think it's a cool, it's a buzzy thing, and they got a lot of talk at KubeCon in Salt Lake City.
Sorry, can you just explain what that is?
Dynamic resource allocation is the name of that, and it's really about better use of stuff in your cluster, right? Like as we evolve to different workloads. One of the things that's interesting about Kubernetes, and you said, what has it ever done for me?
My entire career.
For sure, yeah. I think the interesting thing is that so many people use it in so many different ways, maybe beyond what it was built for or originally intended for. To see those sort of things continue to evolve is probably the most interesting thing to me. I work at Microsoft, so big hyperscaler, and it's interesting to see how internally we're using some of those things and looking for those features, but also providing them as a service to folks that are consuming the clusters. I don't know if there's any other specific things that I'm like super focused on, but my hat inside of Kubernetes is definitely on the reliability of the release and making sure that we ship those things, but in a way that keeps the project healthy long term. Maybe turning down some of the releases and not doing releases for IBM mainframe hardware, and kind of balancing those things from a critical long term perspective, cost wise.
Cool. Okay. Well, guys, I really appreciate your time. It's been fantastic talking to you. I hope you enjoyed the rest of the conversation that you're going to have, and the rest of the conference as well. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. It's been great.
Thank you. Super happy to be here.
Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel to support me. You may also want to check out some of the other videos on this channel. Bye for now.